startup is an exciting journey, and it's even more exciting to actually see, if not as exciting, uh, to see such a strong ecosystem um, in town over the last 2 days. Right? Um, so as a lot of you know, we at Microsoft Accelerator are just one of the cogs in the ecosystem, where we kind of try to see if there's any way that we can add actually value. Um, and they say it takes a village to raise a child, and that's the naughty one. It actually takes a precinct of villages to raise a good one. Um, Startup story is very similar, and we're all lucky to have a very strong ecosystem here in town, where over the few years we've actually emerged uh, as one of the top 20 ecosystems around the world, and in fact, the number 3 in tech startups. And it's all basically, and that's the reason why we're able to actually scale from about 1,500 startups in 2010 to about 5,000 plus today. And it's really the village which adds value. And we as Microsoft Accelerator are really proud to be part of this ecosystem, and not just here in India or in Bangalore, but on the world. In fact, we started in 2012 in India and Israel. We are now in 8 different locations around the world, raised about $3 billion um, um, across the eight ecosystems in our alumni. We graduated about 700 startups, and 48 of them exited, 83% really successful, 5.2 million average ARR, right? This is a huge list of alumni, about 100 plus, 115 plus, right out of here from Bangalore. We actually graduated 10 cohorts, and we are on the 11th one now. But really, over the period, we actually learned, we are like a startup actually. We learned, just like startups go through stages, in the 4 stages, we've actually learned our stages too. And basically, we pivoted from engaging with early stage startups about 5 years ago. We ran through the journey for 2 years, and then we said, hey, yeah, we can add max value for B2B startups. And then we, over the last 1 year, we kind of, on the B2B journey, we thought our differentiator is really about helping startups in the scale-up part of the journey, right? As startups go through various parts of the journey, it's really different problems, different solutions to the problems that they need to address. And it's really on Steve Blank's 4 steps of customer development in this stage of journey on the scale up. Customer development is not just about acquiring customers, but having your whole ecosystem and partnerships being built by your startup to get your engines running, right? It's about building an engine that can sustain to acquire and service and operate your customers' needs. And then as you go through this journey, there are different adoption life cycles. I mean, it's really about from getting to the first customer, which is about product solution fit, to product market fit, and then as we go into what we call as product scale fit. And we at Microsoft kind of found out the hard way, just like startups after 2 pivots, that we can add maximum value in the product scale fit stage, right? And that's been our journey from 2012 until now. And we now have a strong cohort of 14 startups uh, uh, about 2.5 million ARR, 64 million um, fund raised, and about um, uh, 3.5 years life of each startup. So these are all really, really mature startups who kind of, one of the things that we kind of wonder and kind of joke sometimes is we actually learn a lot more than we can give back. And sometimes me and my boss, Bala, wonder, what's it that we can help? And then we kind of figure it's really about learnings from the larger Microsoft ecosystem around scale-up problem, right? And as we went over the journey in our accelerated engaging with startups, we figured certain lessons along on challenges of scale up that startups have along their life, right? At this stage, when you have recurring customers paying for your product, now the kind of problems you meet are completely different. It's not so much about product, but it's about transitioning from product to delivering a product to a customer to adding value to their business. So you're now moving from being a finger or a nail on their body to the spine of their body, right? What does that mean? The challenges that are demanded by your customers, and especially large enterprise customers, to make a difference to the business is completely different from what you need to do to deliver a product, right? And the first, one of the big things there is when you start up, you kind of very focused on revenue in whatever way you can get. It's really about breadth, right? And when we actually say this to a lot of our startups, so you have a large surface area, but then the large surface area is your blocker to accelerate your momentum of growth, right? In fact, momentum and surface area are really inversely proportional. Scale up, actually, first thing you need to do is narrow your surface area. Can figure out what are those 10 things that I was doing when I'm growing from, like, say, a few $100,000 to a few $1 million. What are the 5 or 6 or 7 things that I should shut down and actually go deep on 2 or 3 things to increase the momentum, right? To take off. It's just like in an aircraft. In an aircraft, when you're on the runway, a pilot does a lot of things, but then once they're just about to take off, it kind of shuts off everything, including the wheels and all those other moving parts. It makes it a really simple 3-4 step cockpit activities, and that's what facilitates the takeoff. And that actually means that when you have to really take this hard decision of stopping to do certain things that you were doing when you're in the early stages of your journey, it actually means you need to find partners who will do what you were doing earlier, right? Partnership is not just about doing somebody else doing what you were doing earlier, probably services, professional services, operations and support, but it's also about having your engine, which is basically your product, your people, your culture, and your mindset ready for taking partnerships. And that's not very easy, right? And that's what we actually call in Microsoft Accelerator as making startups enterprise ready or scale up ready, right? As part of the scale up journey. And what does that entail really? It's really about putting engines in place where you're not just innovating, you're innovating and helping your customers run the shop, innovate as well as operate, right? And that's suddenly you have two things to do, right? And that's where tech at scale and tech adds value, right? In fact, every business that's getting disrupted, why is it actually getting disrupted by tech? Is really because scale up actually means not just about bringing in focus, bringing in, doing a very narrow set of activities, but it's also about figuring out the value add. And the value add is really through automation. Automation of what? Automation of things that you need to do very repetitively, as well as things you wouldn't actually do otherwise, right? Basically, the difference between being a product startup and services startup is that where things that you want to get done without actually throwing too many bodies. That's not skill, and that's where tech actually helps you. And figuring out what part of tech helps you and how do you do that is a key challenge, right? And it's hard. It's really hard. One of your key focus is to build that product, get it into market, but then also rev up the engines around support, operations, and build a release, automation. All that is really, really hard, right? And that's what scale up really means. And as I said when we started, it's really about these four things. It's about your value to your customer into the core business. It's about not selling a product, but it's about showing a value to the business. But then when you move from the fringe to the core, the center of your customer's business, then there are the challenges. It's about you finding depth in your product, going deeper into things that you did earlier than going as a breadth activities. But that also means forming strong partnerships. It could be with SIs, it could be with other startups, it could be with a larger ecosystem, it could be corporate players like us, or even tech companies. But then all of that with value with technology, right? I know it's been a long but fruitful 2 days, and we're happy to be here. And as I said when we started, we learn along the way, and we're grateful to this ecosystem that's actually being strongly built here in Bangalore to deliver value to startups. And we'll be more than happy to see how Microsoft can actually help you along your journey. And that's really about not being value negating activity where there's a lot of noise, right? It's not about noise, but actually identifying this signal shaft, and that's where we would like to add value. Thank you.